It's a pleasure to be here this evening, and I thank you very much for the invitation and acknowledge the SGLBA and of course our host this evening and all of you for taking the time to come out. Many of you have been to a couple of the forums now and seen us all speak many times, and it takes quite an effort for all of you to come as well. And to my team that's here this evening, thank you. We were asked to prepare some thoughts for tonight on several issues, and I'm going to talk about those. As far as some points about myself, I'm a resident of the City of Sydney, I'm a business owner, I'm a tenant, and I'm also a landlord. So I understand what all the spectrums are about. Could I ask you for a moment to consider an example? If every single business in the city left, what would there be? And then consider if every single resident left, what would there be? It's together that we survive. It's together that we thrive. To divide this community is wrong, because our local businesses need our local residents, and our local residents love our local businesses, and they should be equally represented. While the businesses in the City of Sydney have always had the right to vote, the amended business voting franchise, though far from perfect, is definitely a step in the right direction. To suggest it's an attempt to hand control of this city to the big end of town is not evidence-based. All I ask people to do is reserve judgment until after the election and observe Melbourne's progress, who have had the same franchise for the past 10 years. It was very difficult to vote in previous years as a business owner. There were several forms to fill out, if you could work out which one, and you only had a couple of weeks to organise yourself to fill out those forms and submit them. Now, 4 years later, after a great big battle and millions of dollars, not a lot changed. I'd like to see further change. I'd like to see the process streamlined and simplified. I'd like to see it done online. I'd like to see the 9 or 10 forms eliminated and brought down to maybe 1 or 2. And I'd like to see the misconception that there are 2 votes for each business also put to rest. It's 1 vote per person. I have a business in the city and I'm a resident. I don't get 2 votes. I get 1. That's the way it is for every single person that lives in Australia, and that's the way it should be. I've always supported 1 vote per person. While much of the property north of Martin Place is owned by institutional owners, it's occupied and leased by small and medium enterprises who are now able to vote freely. That they should spend their waking hours here, invest their capital, hearts and souls, pay nearly 80% of the cost of running Town Hall, and be treated as subjects in an absolute monarchy and not citizens in a democracy is entirely counterproductive. In respect of Oxford Street, we paid particular attention to it as it's been a feature of the last state campaign, and quite rightly this one. All manner of solutions have been proposed. None so far have worked. We say that the starting point is the removal of local traffic, at about 64,000 cars a day. This is the absolute first necessary step to giving it back to the residents and to reinvent itself. The traffic must come off Oxford Street. That's what it deserves, and I make no apologies about our solution. It's bold and audacious, or as it's been described in the Herald, bodacious. If someone has something realistic and better than the one I have advanced, then I'm all ears. And we've got the dialogue going on this subject, and that's part of my job. As far as the LGBTI community is concerned, my starting point is that I'm not going to Town Hall to represent government to you. I am going to represent you to government, and that's the best starting point I can do. It has long been our view and my view of our team. Our consultation process has not been our finest hour at Town Hall, and my plan to make council easier to deal with is a definite and absolute priority. Sydney Matters is a plan to make Sydney smarter, safer, and easy to deal with for both the residents and the business owners of this city. We have a plan for business and economic growth that applies the best thinking in technology enablement to reposition Sydney as a smart city, a city that works efficiently and effectively for all our stakeholders. Our policies will support the whole community, including our late night economy policy, our residents task force that we've put forward, our policy for seniors, and our plan for parks and recreation, and so much more. What the chamber will look like come September the 10th is a matter for voters. Should I find myself in a chamber where no one group has monopoly on exercising the levers of power, I view that as a satisfactory position. As in life, no one should have a monopoly on wisdom. A diversity of opinion is to be expected in politics as in every other aspect of our life. Our job in these circumstances is to distill the collective views of our experience and hopefully produce the right ones. Thank you.
Thank you very much, candidates. Thank you, Angela. Now we're swapping.